President Mahmoud Abbas and myself had a paper which was eventually leaked after a few years. And that was the basis for the Camp David talks and others of a two-state solution. And we solved all the issues, all the outstanding issues. From the border, we have maps for the division of Jerusalem, for the division of the land, the two states, for the refugees, and you name it. It was possible already then, but regretfully, it was the assassination of Rabin which also killed this agreement. And locations from history of both peoples. This is part, you all know that the narratives, it is not only the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, is playing a huge, huge role. And one can deal with the narratives. And one of them is to respect the memories of the others, even though you believe that these memories refer to events that were done against you. But understand that for the other side, it's part of the story. And you cannot demand the other side to forget it or to denounce it. Another one is, if possible, to build or to establish a joint committee to deal with the story, with the narrative. People say that that there is a huge gap between the narratives of the Palestinians and the Israelis. It may be true, but the narrative is connected, if not built on, facts. And I think that we can really sit together and refer to the facts so that it will not be just a narrative of the one side against the narrative of the other side, and the most liberal way is to say, I hate you, I don't want to meet you, but I respect your right to have your stupid narrative. No, I believe that we can write a joint narrative, and it will have an impact because words are playing a very important role in our story. It's not only deeds. And I can, in a way, prove it because Dr. Hiba Husseini, which will be online immediately, and myself led the two groups of Israelis and Palestinians who published 2 years ago a book about a potential confederation between Israel and Palestine. And a very important part of this book is a joint narrative. We worked on it for about 2 years. And we did not shoot each other during these negotiations. Eventually we saw that if mature people, if adults who are knowledgeable about the story and who can understand the story of the other, if they sit together, they can write a joint narrative. Now imagine, there will be people on the Israeli side and Palestinian side which will say, no, you submitted to the others and whatever, you gave up on your own story, you cannot do it. Okay, but most of the people will be happy with it. And if it is possible to have something like that in the school systems, it doesn't mean that people will have to learn it by heart and know only that. But they should also know that it is possible to have a joint narrative. So this is one of the issues that I believe should be done. Speaking about the things which are happening today, all the Israeli hostages should be released and that IDF should withdraw from the Gaza Strip. The kind of a multinational trusteeship should be established. My model is the model of Hiba Husseini, and this is the model of Cambodia in 91. Cambodia in 99, in 91 was a success story. For 18 months, it was a multilateral force in security, in police, in administration, led by a Japanese diplomat. Tens of thousands of people from 48 countries were part of this trusteeship led by the UN. And after 18 months, the key was brought back to the Cambodian people, and Cambodia became a democracy. Now, it sounds like a miracle. There were difficulties. It did not happen exactly as they wanted. But I don't know about a better model for what we can do if we decide so. Now, at the end, we should agree upon it now that Gaza and the West Bank will be part of the future independent and sovereign Palestinian state, of course. We don't have any better solution than the two-state solution. For the Palestinians, the most important thing is to fulfill their right for self-determination. For us, the most important thing is to be and remain Jewish and democratic state. If we are becoming a minority of Jews who are dominating a majority of Arabs, it's the end of our story. In reality, it is the end of our story. Israel was established after the Holocaust so that there will be a Jewish state. This is the UN resolution. Had the Arabs agreed to have a Palestinian and Arab state in 1947, the whole story could have been different. I know why the Arabs rejected it. I don't blame them. But regretfully, even Abu Mazen admitted that it was a mistake. So we should both fix it. As to the permanent agreement, the PLO and the Israeli government will negotiate peace based on the recognition of both peoples to statehood without prejudice to the rights of the minorities on both sides. The parties will recognize Palestine and Israel as the homelands of their respective peoples and will commit themselves not to interfere in each other's affairs. The negotiations will take into account previous drafts and formal and informal previous negotiations. They don't have to invent the wheel, and they don't need 50 years in order to negotiate. A year is enough. A year and a half, okay. But otherwise, it is just excuses not to get to the end result. And I'm just mentioning some of the agreements which have been formally or informally achieved. The first one was, if I may say so, and I'm sorry to mention my name, the Beilin Abu Mazen Agreement of 95. 2 years after Oslo, the President Mahmoud Abbas and myself had a paper which was eventually leaked after a few years. And that was the basis for the Camp David talks and others of a two-state solution. And we solved all the issues, all the outstanding issues. From the border, we have maps for the division of Jerusalem, for the division of the land, the two states, for the refugees, and you name it. It was possible already then, but regretfully, it was the assassination of Rabin which also killed this agreement. And then the Clinton parameters, with all due respect, it was more important than ours, of 2000, which also referred to all the thorny or the outstanding issues. Then the Arab Initiative of 2002, which was very short. It is more a declaration than a detailed plan. But still, it refers to all the issues and was very, very important, and it could be one of the bases for the negotiations. The Ayalon-Nusseibah agreement of 2002. It was more like a declaration, but a very, very important, and it is one of the milestones. The Geneva Accords of 2003, which is the most detailed peace agreement, a draft of a peace agreement. You have the all, including 500 very boring pages of annexes. We refer to everything from water to the electromagnetic space. So if somebody really, and it cannot be implemented tomorrow in the same day, in the same way, because there were changes in reality that you have to refer to. But generally speaking, you can really do it quickly. And I think that if you add to it the idea that we published 2 years ago about a confederation, which will allow, among other things, which will solve the issue of the settlements, because part of the settlements, which on a very small part of the West Bank, which will be land swap apart from the Israeli sovereignty, but all those who will find themselves in the future Palestinian state, will be allowed to stay there as Israeli citizens and Palestinian permanent residents, and the same number of Palestinians who would like to live in Israel would be permanent residents of Israel and citizens of Palestine, with something which is not connected to the issue of the refugees, which has a different solution, which I won't get into. But it has nothing to do with this idea of residence, because the refugees who will be allowed to Israel will be full citizens. I'm concluding my words by saying today to speak about peace is something which, at least in Israel, and maybe not only there, say, hey, how can you speak about these things? But usually you have peace after wars. Especially when our war was not against the PLO, but as a result of an attack of crazy people who cannot continue and be part of the Palestinian government or leadership tomorrow. So, I mean, those of us who say if you make peace now, or if you agree to a Palestinian state now, it is a prize for the Hamas, I don't think so. I think that for them it is the biggest punishment. They were never supporting a two-state solution. If you ask them today if this is the solution, they will say no. So it is, if you wish, a punishment to Hamas and not a prize. It is a prize for us, those who believe in peace, those who believe that the other side has exactly the rights that you have, and believe that it is not our role to hand over this problem to the next generations, but to solve it. Thank you.